Good morning, everyone. This is Dominic Scafidi, Digital Marketing Specialist here at Axion. Just welcoming all of you to our Humanizing the Digital Experience webinar presented by Axion and BIS. We're just going to wait 1 to 2 minutes here as people come in and take their virtual seats. Feel free to chat into us, where you're tuning in from this morning. We'd love to, kind of see where people are tuning in from. You can do that in the chat box. Throughout the presentation, please ask questions, leave us some comments. We'll be happy to get to those during the presentation, or at the end, we'll have some additional time for questions. This recording will be made available after the webinar in the form of a follow-up email that will come out tomorrow. And then for those of you that are tuning in later to the on-demand version of this, thanks for tuning in. So we're going to just wait 1 or 2 more minutes for people to take those virtual seats, and we will get started. Thanks for your patience. Looks like people are still filing in. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to our Humanizing the Digital Experience webinar presented by Axion and BIS. I want to take a second here to welcome Philip Long, panelist and organizer with me today. Philip is CEO of Business Information Solutions in Alabama. Philip, welcome.
Thank you, Dominic. I appreciate the opportunity and excited to discuss the topic at hand today.
Thanks for coming on. So let's go ahead and just dive in to the state of the industry. Right now, digital marketing, digital media is in I guess you could say, a different place than it was 4 months ago because of everything that's been happening in the world. Engagement is up, and I'm sure everybody tuning in today has spent more time on social media, more time on the internet, more time engaging with people over virtual than you probably have at any point in your life. So with all that being said, it's time to take advantage of that and help that grow your business. Philip, are you spending more time on social right now for work or just for personal reasons?
I'm kind of a different animal because I'm so whatever term you want to use for me, y'all can make it up. But whenever I saw this COVID thing coming about, I really wanted to. I felt like everybody else was going to be sitting down, so I got up and started running. So I really personally left social media behind. But as far as from a marketing perspective and what we're doing here, I know that the numbers are up, and we are spending more money and getting more engagement on social media for sure. So me personally, only because I wanted to take advantage of the current conditions. I quit social media personally, not quit, but I'm way down just because it was I didn't want to do it because it's like that's what you'll default to. And I think that's why we're seeing the numbers up. But as a business, yeah, man, there's a lot of opportunity that we're taking advantage of for people.
And with that being said, engagement is up. And these are some stats here from a company called Shareable Inc. They take social media engagement data from all the platforms and make it into nice visualizations like this. We can see on this left graph here that both men and women have been more active on social media as a result of social distancing. This trend is up across all age groups and across all platforms. We can see that some people might be engaging less, but they're on the platforms more. And overall, just the consumer usage of social media across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn is up to historic highs. So this is something that you definitely want to take advantage of. You know, you don't want to miss out on this, I guess you could say, free organic social media bubble that we're seeing at the moment. Philip touched on that a little bit. So let's go ahead and go into a poll here. You should see a poll come up on your screen. What tactics does your MSP utilize for marketing? We have a couple different methods: email marketing, digital and social media, legacy, print, TV, and radio, and then other. Would be curious to see that other box. If you're using a different type, please, you know, let us know what you're using. Chat it to us. I'd be curious to know. Philip, are you a full court press, or what do you lean on the most?
Pretty much full court press, other than we are currently not doing TV. We did some ads on radio, primarily because of it was just such a great buy. There are some opportunities out there right now because of this particular, you know, the pandemic crisis that we're in. So we are doing, everything that you got there except television.
Gotcha. Let's see what the results are here. So it looks like majority of people are doing email marketing as expected. And then second place here, we have just a little bit over 65% digital and social, people doing legacy, and then other. As I said, please chat us other marketing or digital tactics you're using. I'm very curious to know. It could be LinkedIn advertising that you're using. It could be maybe YouTube and video ads. Just please chat it in. I'd be curious. So let's move on here. Want to share here, before we get into the virtual events portion, just want to share some tips on how to get started on social media. These are things that you can do pretty much for free, and highly recommend at least getting started if you haven't already. So the first thing is you want to get all your social media platforms in line and up and running. Best way to do that is to audit your current presence. You might have a couple, you know, maybe a Facebook page or Twitter page out there. Audit those and get an idea of who your followers are, how many followers you have, and your activity. Have you been active on the platform, or maybe you haven't posted since mid-2018? Get an idea of where you're at, and then once you know where you're at, it's time to start creating content and make a plan going forward. But before you do that, I'd say it's very important for you to link your social icons to your website and to your employees' email signatures. This basically connects your social media platforms to your brand. If they're not connected to your website, it's not going to be official for somebody looking at your company and going, is this their Facebook page? There might not be an official link. So it's important to link those icons to your website and also your email signature. Once you've done that, it's time to start posting, talking about posting, and then having that plan. So you can use free post scheduling platforms like a Buffer, a Later.com, to plan your social content in advance, so you're not being inconsistent. These things are, you know, very important when it comes to being consistent on social media. You want to make sure that you're posting on a regular basis. Don't have to post every day, but maybe once or twice a week to let your audience know that you're there. And then finally, something I always recommend people do is listen on social media. Don't just add to the conversation, but also listen. Make sure you're following vendors, make sure you're following your competition, see what they're doing and talking about on social media. It's a great way to learn more about your competition and how to be competitive against them. Philip, any points there? I know you guys do a lot on social media, so I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are.
And again, you know, everybody's at a different place, and I think what you gave us there is 100% right on. You want to make sure all your links are out there and they're working, and you know, your wrappers, or you know, basically the branding that you have on each platform is consistent. I think that's important to show that professional look. And you know, for maybe a little more advanced user, just the way the algorithms work and engagement works, you want to maybe set up systems so that as nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. And whenever you start doing things, once you get the momentum going, you don't want to stop, because that'll hurt you in the overall algorithm. So you want to kind of think a little bit about maybe start off with monthly themes or quarterly themes in order to kind of get a message that is consistent. And to me, it's almost like fishing, where you want to first chum the water, and then maybe you want to develop a guide or something, and then you want those people to click on it and then start to monitor those people. And just kind of, again, if you think of the funnel, but that's a little more advanced. But I guess I'll just say that once you get the momentum going, don't stop.
Be consistent, 100%. Let's talk about getting started on digital here, and maybe briefly mention that funnel, Philip. It's a good point. I think we need to start off by your website. It is crucial. It is critical. MSPs, you guys are the tech experts. You're the tech masterminds of the world. So your website should reflect that. You don't want to have a poor looking website or something that's maybe out of date. So optimize your website for inbound. Let those customers come to you. Make sure your forms are all working on your website. Make sure your links are working, as Philip said. Just make sure that thing looks good and is very good in terms of its user experience. Moving a little bit more advanced into that SEO, search engine optimization part of things, just define your keywords. And I think an easy way to do that is to just scrub your website for the keywords in relations to your products, solutions, and offerings. And then make sure that's targeted on your website in terms of content and your backlink strategy as well. But it's extremely important to make sure that you're having those keywords built into many different places on your website so that you're search engine optimized. You could also outsource this to somebody or an outside firm if that's within the budget for you, or just spend a little bit of time doing it in terms of writing a couple of blogs and changing up your backlinks so that they reflect those keywords. Paid social is another great way to get started on digital. It doesn't have to break the bank. Some people would say that you need to spend thousands of dollars on this. That is not true. The greatest way to start is probably by investing $5, $10 a day on boosting posts on social media. Make sure you're targeting. And then if that targeting isn't working, don't keep using it. Retarget again. If you have a post that has high organic engagement, meaning you have a Facebook or LinkedIn post that gets lots of shares, lots of likes, lots of comments, maybe put a little bit of money behind that and get that outside of your audience. Help boost that post outside of your audience to that targeted list. And then finally, ensure your ad pixels are working and installed correctly on your website. You can install Facebook ad pixels, make sure that those are working and those are correct, so you're not directing ads to the wrong place. Philip, I know you have somebody that helps you with a lot of this. Christy helps manages a lot of this. So what do you guys do maybe in terms of SEO and that keyword targeting?
Yeah, we do a good bit of that. And I really even want to do a lot more, and I think I could identify probably with a lot of the guys on the call, guys and girls on the call here with, we're busy. We're tech experts, right? And we're very busy, and it's difficult for us to do this. So what I found, the only way that I was going to be able to do it consistently was to hire somebody. And if you go back to the day when we were doing yellow page ads, I've been in this industry for 20 years. So, social media wasn't a thing back then. And I just think of the money that I spent in those, double truck ads and all that. And I am getting way more bang for the buck. And I would also kind of reemphasize what you talked about, building audiences. Spend some time, Google building audiences within whatever platform you're looking at, because it is extremely powerful that you can, the information that these guys have available to them, and to know, what is the socioeconomic, what's the geographic, what is the other things that they have liked. you can really hone your message into a particular client. And I would just emphasize that for sure. Don't go too cheap. Spend some time retargeting, figuring out who your target is. And then I would say possibly even look at hiring somebody. I hired Christian probably, I don't know how long, 7-8 years ago as an intern. And she's now my chief revenue officer. And marketing works. You just got to be consistent. You got to be focused. And a lot of times it takes somebody that's their, the hat they wear.
100%. That dedication and consistency is super, super important. Speaking of employees, you want to mobilize your employees to become influencers of your brand. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but I think the first way to do it is you need to get buy-in from everybody in the company, from that senior leadership all the way on down, that they need to be bought in and behind social media initiatives. That can look like asking your employees to like all of your posts, share all of your posts. And on the flip side of that, it's also great to highlight your employees on social media as well. Maybe doing an employee of the month, maybe giving out employee awards. Those are great ways to get your own employees bought into your company's social media. They have expansive networks of their own, sometimes maybe even larger than the company page. So you want to make sure that you're utilizing them as a resource to help grow your company's influence on social media. Finally, gamification is always important. Who doesn't like to win gifts and gift cards? So you can gamify your social media engagement of your employees and give out awards to maybe the highest engaged or the person that shared the most posts. At Axion, we're running a contest right now with our account executives for people that will invite the most partners to our Facebook Live events. We'll hand out, $25 Amazon gift card, $25 Starbucks gift card for that. So it's a great way to mobilize your employees as influencers. Philip, don't you guys do like a employee of the month kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. We do. We actually we amp that up a little bit with we have what we call gosh, I don't even think of the term now. Forgive me. Basically, it's the person who's done the most to impact our business from a technical standpoint. And I had a weight belt, like a heavyweight weight belt made online, and that person, as well as the employee of the month, they are employee of the month is voted on by peers, and then the other term I can't think of is they get parking. They get parking right up front with their name on the sign. So just ways to incentivize and show that we appreciate people. And I think as business owners, sometimes we get a little too focused on the business and we forget, the parts that make the business go. I just ordered a whole bunch of Ruth's Chris cards, gift cards, and you drop $100 Ruth's Chris card, they're going to take, drop it on one of your employees for doing something and say thank you. They're going to take their spouse, significant other out on that, and then their significant other / spouse is going to say, hey, when are we going to get another one of them? So they're going to constantly be striving to make that happen. And sometimes a few $100s can really change the dynamics.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like winning gifts? It mobilizes people to take real action. Let's talk a little bit about Facebook Live here, and just virtual live events. It's definitely something that we want to have more of. We run a Facebook Live weekly here at Axion, and it's something that we do as almost like a roundtable discussion with leaders around the industry. You're creating basically an audience, and you're becoming a thought leader in the space. And it's also great content for you to chop up later on. You can download that Facebook Live video and turn that into maybe different videos you can use on social, or just using that as a promotional piece of content. Benefits of Facebook Live. First one, it's completely free. Something that you can use and schedule within Facebook if you have a Facebook account. your followers are notified with a push notification anytime you go live, and also 15 minutes before, and when you schedule the live event. So if you haven't been active on Facebook for a while, let's just say, and you're deciding now is the time to get active, scheduling a live event is a great way to let your followers know, hey, they're there, they're coming back, they're going to be having this live event. Maybe I should tune in. You know, I know that, Philip, you do a tech tip every week on LinkedIn, I see. I'd recommend, you know, maybe the MSPs on the line here do a similar kind of tech tip, but more of a live event on Facebook. These are great ways to just engage your following.
Yeah, I'll add to that just one comment that, you know, it doesn't all have to rest on you. If you had somebody in the office that is, you know, that person, even if you don't have a dedicated person, let them go around and shoot videos of your staff. That's one thing Christy brought to my attention. Really, she was putting time on my calendar, and I was really letting her down. And I basically said, look, you know, why don't we get everybody involved in the company? It also it brings the people together more, where they feel like they're contributing to the overall picture of what we're doing. So there's a lot of wins by bringing in additional members of your team. Don't think it all has to fall on you. Use your use your staff to help out, and it'll give the people watching a different view to show that you're a little larger company maybe, and it also gives you a break, and it brings them tighter into the fold of being, you know, that employee that you want.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, that you can almost use stuff like video and social to appear bigger than you are as a company. Let's pop into another poll here. This one's about virtual events, and we'll kind of get into that section here. So let us know, does your MSP host virtual events right now? Maybe you didn't before the stay-at-home orders came, but now you do. So I'd be curious to know about that. And after this poll, we'll definitely go into some tips on how to run virtual events. And I know that, Philip, you guys do some virtual events at BIS.
Yeah, we have. And, you know, we spoke on this a little bit earlier. I don't know that it would remain this way forever, but we're having more people attend a virtual event than we do in a on site, like a lunch and learn type event. We have more people attend the virtual event, and one of the things that we're doing, and I'll even share a tip about it, we're doing like a virtual lunch and learn where we're starting a little bit earlier. And we learned this because basically everybody who signed up, we had pizzas delivered for them. Well, a lot of them didn't show up, so they wound up getting free pizza without having to listen to the event. And so what we did is we moved it up a little bit. I think we started like at 10:30 a.m. And while they're on the call, once they're on the call, then we get the pizzas delivered, so that towards the end of the event, their pizzas are showing up, and it's been good.
Good tactic there, and you're avoiding giving out free pizza. So
Yeah.
I'm going to close this poll here. Let's see the results. So yeah, 70% of people saying no, that we don't host virtual events. So I hope these next couple slides here will be pretty valuable to you. So virtual lunch and learns, just as Philip was just talking about a little bit, we want to have a full court promotion tactic. We want to use everything we can to promote to our audience that we're having this event. You want to start off with maybe direct mail. You can do telemarketing. Email and website is very important. And when I say promotion on the website, maybe you have an events page on your website that you're directing people to. Maybe you have forms on your website that you're directing people to for events. But you want to make sure you have that promotion on your website taken care of. Organic social promotion is very important as well. So using that Facebook account to put out a couple posts in advance promoting the virtual lunch and learn event that you're hosting. And then finally, if you have the resources to do it, launching a couple of digital ads on social media, maybe on Google as well, would be very important to do if you have that budget to do so. Philip, can you tell us a little bit more about what you do when you're promoting a virtual lunch and learn?
Sure. And, again, we started off with an intern, and she was fresh out of college and just really a wonderful person and a hard worker and really got it. So I got lucky there, but we start off with one person. Now, currently where we sit, this is after 7-8 years. She has an assistant that is doing list scrubbing, because that's one of the most important things, because you don't want to waste bandwidth, conversation on people who aren't your target market. So we have somebody scrubbing the list, and then we've had someone in-house doing telemarketing, and just really didn't work out that well. So we are currently in the process of hiring, and we're hiring them 2 at a time for part-time, 15, 20 hours a week, doing contract labor for telemarketing. And I'll tell you, I was extremely surprised. For a telemarketing position on Indeed, I could look at it and tell you exactly the number, but it was something like 200 applicants. And but they're getting, and what we're doing then is we're taking a list that has been scrubbed. We're doing a vertical market normally, and we're doing some form of like a white paper or a guide or something, and they are following up after an email in Infusionsoft. We've cooked this all the way out in Infusionsoft, when we're even using a dialer within Infusionsoft, so that everything's recorded, the calls are recorded, the times are recorded, everything is recorded as to what happens. Basically, you send that out, you get the list that's been scrubbed, you send out the deal, whatever promotional product you have, and then somebody calls up to follow up and tries to book the appointment. And so it's really worked out well. And I tell you, I would say by the end of the year, I'm going to have some really strong statistics to be able to say, if you send out the special people a mailer invitation, is that going to get you a higher probability than if you sent them an email? Because we're doing it all in Infusionsoft, we're able to build these dashboards out to show the probability. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, guys, if somebody walked up to you and said, "Hey, if you give me $1, I'll bring you $3 back," you'd probably start robbing banks to get that multiplier. And that's ultimately where we're heading as a company. Is I want to be able to say, whenever I do these certain things, I'm going to get this much business on the back end. And coupling Infusionsoft and BrightGauge to pull the reporting, we're getting the numbers, and now we're just basically collecting them and analyzing them.
Very cool. And making that audience is super important, as you said. You want to know who you're targeting and you're marketing towards. You don't want to waste money on them if they're not part of that target market. So super good to reiterate that. Let's continue on virtual lunch and learns here. It's very important to have individualized event reminders. That could be in the form of an automated email. You could also go ahead and call people, but you want to make sure that you're directly contacting those that have RSVP'd. It can go a long way to making them actually show up to the event. Additionally, you want to nail that follow-up messaging and make sure that the follow-up messaging is in touch with all registrants within the next 24 to 48 hours. You don't want to miss their time and attention. And you could also, if you have the bandwidth, use individualized calls. Show the registrants that you care about their time and attention. Call and say, "Hey, we might have missed you on this event. Could you make the next one?" Or things like that. And I know, Phil, you guys do a lot of this at VIS.
We do. We, a lot of times they ask for. We have probably close to, I bet 50% of the people that register. There's another, like if say we get 30, 40 people on an event, there'll be another 15 to 20 that say, "Hey, I want the video. I want the so I can watch it on demand." and giving them that opportunity to do that. And even calling them to remind them, if done properly, it's extra work, but you will increase your attendance greatly by having a call a day or two before to confirm their deal. If we do lunch and learns, what we normally would do, like if it was in person, is we would say, we want to get your menu item down, so that we're, basically they understand that we're reserving them. Are you going to have steak or chicken or whatever? That's a little tactic that we used that we found really we had less of a no-show whenever we did that.
And do you do that today when you're kind of calling people for these virtual events? What is that tactic there? Is this kind of pizza you want, or here's the gift card that you have a choice from?
We're doing it with the pizza. That right now we've been primarily just because most places have it where you can get a pizza delivered pretty much anywhere. So we've been using pizza, and we'll talk to them about the pizza that they want to do, things like that. And these are calls that, hey, somebody's buying you lunch and concerned about what kind of pizza you want. You're gonna appreciate them. It's gonna, add value to the relationship. And to me, like early on, I can remember thinking of all the work that it took to do this, and I was like, man, it's not worth it. But guys, we're in the most awesome business in the world, because one client, our average client's about 12 to 1500 bucks a month, um, and that's recurring. And we can go into the whole client retention thing, and we will allow people that are our current clients to attend these events and buy them pizza, because to us that's making them more sticky. So I mean, the money that we're spending here is pennies compared to the reward that we'll get on the other side if we're doing business right.
And as we're talking about humanizing the digital experience, things like that, additional touch points, ordering somebody pizza, asking what they want on their pizza, these are ways to make that virtual experience just a little bit more human, feel a little bit more normal, than just kind of more of a cold communication about a virtual event. But tell us about ActiveTrack.
Yeah, I want to throw this in here because it's a tool that I found, because we have a pretty dispersed workforce, like probably most folks do right now. And this is just a really cool tool. It was sparked, I think, by a conversation you and I had, or maybe it was someone else. We're rolling out VDI. I want to do a lot of VDI because of the current situation that we're in. Having it to where the receptionist could pick up and drop by Best Buy and pick up a Chromebook and be able to run the entire organization. And part of it is that I have been with clients, I've been with my managers, and they've asked the question, what in the hell does this person do all day? Well, this is a way to tell, and it does it in a lot of ways. It also helps security, so that you're able to spin it several different ways, because you don't want people thinking that you want to be Big Brother. But if you look at that today's team pulse, you can look in real time and see what the person is working on, so that you may or may not want to interrupt them. You can also gamify the amount of productivity time. And if you look there to the, you can kind of see the graph, and you can look over there to the right, top users and groups. You can see the bluish color there is productive time, and the other color is passive time, where basically the computer's, the screen locks on, and it breaks it all down into the buckets that you're working. And for me, as I'm very, I'll chase the shining object. So I like to know what I do all day, and it's really nice to be able to go back. You can pull reports and see where your production happened. And from a security standpoint, like if your client was to say, hey, so and so was on my computer, I want to know what the hell they did. Well, it takes screenshots, and if you're areas where you have, personal identifiable information or EPHI, it'll redact that automatically, but it'll take screenshots of what was being done and logs in a forensic way so that it's admissible to say when a person was on and what they were doing, because it's capturing screenshots along the way. And you can set up alerts for a lot of different things. If they go to Netflix or if they spend too much time on social media, there's a lot of power in trying to help people, personally accountable for their productivity. And when you add in the security feature, I thought it was something that is really pretty cool.
And you said too, we talked about this a little bit earlier, you can use this to determine when is a good time to reach out to somebody over the phone or over email. You can see when they're working on something and maybe this is a better time to reach out than not.
Yeah, that little today's team pulse there, that can't hardly really see what that says, but like at that moment, whenever this was taken, I was on a remote desktop connection. Garrett was on some providesupport.com. He was probably on, he was on a chat with a company. Brandon was on a Screen Connect, working with a client, and Christy was on ActiveTrack because she was making this slide for me. So we rolled it out with our leadership team, and we just rolled it out to kind of what we call our team leads. And I'm rolling it out in segments because I want to keep the culture of where I don't want to feel like I'm trying to micromanage. But yeah, you can see in real time. There's a lot of other features that more than we would want to discuss in this. And I see this as a product that I want to sell and be able to consult with my clients on, because I know I've talked to just tons of them, and they would like to be able to coach their staff better, and having a tool like this could help.
Of course. Let's go, speaking of that coaching and resources, we do have resources here at Axion that partners can utilize to, make better marketing programs, and they're entirely free. We do have an Axion marketing portal that has assets within it, brandable one-pagers, brandable email campaigns, brandable social campaigns that you can pretty much launch within a click if you set up your profile within the Axion marketing portal. So it's definitely something that I recommend using. We'll talk a little bit about training in the next slide, but it's rich in assets, and it has all sorts of stuff that you can put your company's logo on and send out to your end users, whether that's educational and thought leadership tools or promotional stuff. But it's definitely a tool that I would look into using. Philip, do you guys use the Axion marketing portal at all at BIS?
Sure. Yeah, a lot. A lot of those playbooks that you guys have, where it, it'll walk you through if you want to do, if you want to write a blog, if you want to send an email, if you want to do that. We have taken the elements from there, and we are using Infusionsoft as the means of delivery. But yeah, we take that information because you guys have spent a lot of time cooking that out, and we will of course brand it, which it's all brandable. We can basically brand it as ourselves, but we use it all the time. And it's really as far as from a place where there's some great data, is in my opinion a lot further along than a lot of our vendors in the material that's available.
Yeah, so if you're listening here either to the on-demand or right now, and you want to know more about the Axion marketing portal and this resource that we have, feel free to respond to that follow-up email. Let us know that you'd like some additional training or a walkthrough. We'd be happy to give it to you. Speaking of training, it's going to be a short little training that's going to teach you how to use these pre-built campaigns, how to bring your social profiles onto the Axion marketing portal so you can launch one-click social media campaigns. And then it's also going to be really a way for you to differentiate your MSP among the rest. I know, Philip, you've talked about a lot that MSPs offer the same things, and you have to differentiate yourself with the services that you offer and the solution that you offer. And this is definitely a way to do that.
Yeah, and I cannot stress enough, and I know every market's a little different, but uh, I believe that the number one way, I always say marketing is a World War I battle. It's a battle of attrition. And the better you get at analyzing the battlefield and analyzing the results that you get, the better you're going to do. The more of the foxholes and trenches that your opponent put in place, you're going to be able to take those over quicker and easier. You can do it the hard way, like I've done it for a lot of years, is just simply just by brute force and working. But hopefully we're learning and we're going to get better here. But you really want to keep the volume up, and then the better you get. But the number one way is going to be through education. Whenever you are answering those questions, there was a guy that spoke, keynote speaker, I don't recall his name, but he spoke down at IT Nation, the last one they had. It was down in Florida. He said basically what messed the world up from a standpoint of selling, if you will, is the phone. People nowadays feel like they have everything they need to make a decision. Well, you have to give them everything they need to make the decision that you're the person they need to go with. And I think if you take that ownership and you start to apply that to your marketing, it's going to pay dividends.
Agreed. And let's talk about MDF here just for a second. You can apply for MDF funds, marketing development funds, through the Axion marketing portal. It's a program that we co-sponsor with partners, and we really want to help MSPs grow their businesses, add new clients, especially during this time. So these are joint activities, and it's something that Axion does cover at least partially the cost of. And there are three focus areas that we're going with. It's Microsoft 365 backup, cloud-enabled file services, and then business continuity. So if you're interested in MDF, once again, reply to that follow-up email, make an application within the AMP, or just let us know. Lucy Jones, my colleague, is the one who manages the program, and it's definitely a way to grow your business and bring in some of those new leads and new clients. Philip, have you guys used Axion MDF before?
Certainly. I forgot who had the stat one time that kind of got us going, and this is one of Christy's roles, is that she goes out begging for money. And a lot of companies pull back on MDF, and I don't think it's smart. I'm glad that you guys haven't, because that's incentivizing us to promote your product. And we use it all the time. I mean, we hit you guys up probably 3 or 4 times a year, because at the end of the day, the products that you guys are selling, back up everything kind of mindset is a major core component of as an MSP. The insurance that I can restore their data keeps me in business, and it's something that's highly important to the client as well.
Yeah, it's definitely something that you want to take advantage of. In many cases, we've helped MSPs find additional speakers. I know that there was a MSP in Pittsburgh that we worked with, that we actually had a speaker from the FBI come in from their cybercrime division, talk about how the FBI responds to cybercrime and the need for data backup. So we'll not just give the funds, but we'll actually help plan the event a little bit and help recruit speakers. So definitely something that I recommend looking into.
Yeah. I'll give one more little bit of advice on that. If not saying I got it figured out at all, but what I've learned is that you want to be careful on all of your events. You don't want every event to be, here I'm trying to sell you something. We partnered with the unemployment people about recently on a webinar. I've had my accountant come on and talk about PPP money. I've had my coach, my CrossFit coach, come on and talk about the importance of health. So you want to add some seasoning to the mix, so that you're not every time they call me or every time I get an email from them, they're selling me, or I see them on social media. Just a kind of a final thought there for me.
Yeah, that thought leadership piece is super, super important, especially right now. Giving those resources to your clients, letting them know that you're helping them navigate some things like PPP and things like that is very, very important. Want to talk here briefly just about X360 and the one experience that Axion is offering. I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago on June 23rd, we launched X360 branding for all of our products and consolidation as well. So now it's X360 Cloud, X360 Recover, and X360 Sync, offering that one platform really to protect everything, which is a phrase that Philip coined himself and now we use as a trademark here at Axion. So yeah, just wanted to let you know that we've done that. And if you haven't already, highly recommend doing a free trial, free 14-day trial of X360 Cloud, our Office 365 protection solution. So with that, we're kind of at the end here, and I haven't seen any questions come in yet, but if you have any questions, please chat them to us now, or put them in that questions tab.
Hey, I'll say
if you're
something.
Watching,
yeah, I'll say something about that X360 Cloud. I had kind of mixed. We have and are migrating off. We have our own Exchange cluster with a few thousand accounts, and we're migrating them as quick as we can up to Office 365. And the documents that you guys provided on how Microsoft doesn't back up Office 365 was pretty powerful. And I've had almost zero resistance to people wanting to have, I don't have a backup of my stuff. And so we've been selling it and been very pleased. It's really a kind of a fire and forget kind of product. You hook it up to the Office 365 account and it just works. Pretty cool, and I like the fact, Microsoft offers that, but I really like the fact that that is not in Microsoft, I always talk about, even in our defense in-depth security, where we are, wanting it to run through different vendors, where, now I have my email in the Azure, but now I have my backup of all of that with another company is a very message that we've had good results from.
Yeah, we're actually hosting a webinar later this month, I believe on the 31st, on the top 5 reasons end users and small and medium-sized businesses get Office 365 backup. We did a report on that we released earlier this week. We're going to have a webinar on it later this month. So if you want to know more about kind of what Philip was talking about there and how it is that fire and forget solution, definitely join us later this month on that webinar. With that, though, it looks like we're at the end here. Any closing remarks, Philip, before we sign off?
Nope. I think it was pretty productive there, Dom. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the Axion. It's been a really good partner for me, and I hope that we've provided some good content and information, and always available if some of the guys on the call would like to have a quick call or something to broaden. I'm always open to help my peers.
Same here, and in the follow-up email, we will have contact information. You can always reach out to us on LinkedIn or contact us via email. Thank you for tuning in today, and thank you for joining, Philip, and everybody have a great rest of your day.
All right. See you guys.